start recording, and here we are. Jai Jagannath.
Jai Jagannath,
We
Mataji.
are
Pranam.
reading Bhagavad Gita.
Mhm.
The subtitle for my edition is The Global Dharma for the Third Millennium. So this is the complete PDF edition with translation and commentaries. And we have copyright, blah 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 blah, and preface. Then we have the table of contents. Chapter 1 is entitled Arjuna Vishada Yoga, which means literally the yoga of Arjuna's grief. Okay, then we have the introduction. And then we go chapter 1. We have the first little introduction to chapter 1. And then we come to the first verse, which is very famous. In fact, many people just learn the first verse and the last. So they think they learn the entire Gita. So the verse goes, Dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsava mamaka pandavas chaiva kim akurvata Sanjaya. Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, what did my sons and Pandu's sons do after they assembled in the sacred place of Dharma, the battlefield of Kurukshetra, ready to fight? So the translation, my sons and Pandu's sons, can also be my people or my supporters and the people or supporters of Pandu.
Hanji.
Because the Sanskrit is saying Mamaka, mine, Pandavas, those of the Pandavas. So if you want, we can read the commentary.
Okay, sure. What you see fit, Mataji?
Well, usually when we read the Gita for our videos or our study, usually we go for the translation only.
Hanji.
And if there is anything to clarify, we have questions and answers.
Mm.
But we can briefly read the commentary, why not? So the
Okay.
commentary says, Dhritarashtra is the old regent king of Hastinapura, father of Duryodhana. He is sitting in his palace and asks Sanjaya to describe to him what is happening on the battlefield. Thus, Bhagavad Gita is narrated by Sanjaya to Dhritarashtra in the form of a dialogue. Sanjaya, son of the charioteer Gavaldama, is Dhritarashtra's mantri, like minister, if you want, just like Vidura, who is Dhritarashtra's blood brother. The definition of mantri, as usually translated as minister, actually refers to a secondary position in the government, not occupied by kshatriyas or rulers. The job description usually includes a mixture of secretary, advisor, charioteer, and messenger. And in the Vedic system of government, a mantri is a trusted supporter, assistant, or servant of a kshatriya of the royal order. There are different levels of mantris because there are different functions in the service of the king. Shudras or servants can execute some of them, such as driving a chariot or delivering an ordinary message. And Brahmanas are more suited to advisory functions, especially on ethics, religion, and spirituality. In the present context of political democracies, the ministers are the assistants to the elected representatives of the people. Democracy literally means governed by the people, who take the place of the king, often without honoring the responsibilities that come with the position. Dharmakshetra is not only a place of pilgrimage, but also a place where one performs one religious duty, dharma.
Mataji, can I ask you a
Yes,
question?
yes, please.
You know, when you say dharma kshetra, it says one performs one's religious duty, but that religious duty could be performed anywhere, regardless of the location. Is that right, Mataji?
Yeah, it is. It is true. But in this case of Bhagavad Gita specifically, Bhagavad Gita and Mahabharata are all centered around this battle.
Okay.
In this battle, Arjuna and the Pandavas are going to protect Dharma.
Okay.
Some ignorant people say that, the Arjuna and the Pandavas are fighting for Krishna, which is
Okay.
very stupid because there is not one single verse in all the Mahabharata or the Bhagavad Gita that says that the battle of Kurukshetra is about supporting Krishna, about
Okay.
following Krishna, or putting Krishna, at the head of something. The dharma is basically the fact that has that Duryodhana is not a good king.
Hmm.
So Krishna is not in the picture. The problem is that Duryodhana is not a good king, and he is totally against dharma, and he has demonstrated that he is against dharma very openly and completely,
Hmm.
and he has challenged the Pandavas to fight.
Right.
So when a kshatriya is challenged to a fight, he cannot refuse.
Hmm.
If he refuses to fight, that means that he is accepting the challenger as his authority.
Oh, I see. Okay, that makes sense.
So when Duryodhana challenged Arjuna and the Pandavas, he wanted to confirm his authority on the Pandavas and all their friends,
Hanji.
which means that Duryodhana would come out as the undisputed king all over the kingdom,
Hmm.
which was not good because when the Pandavas started to, the Pandavas are Kshatriyas, their dharma is to protect the Prajas. Okay?
Right.
So when the Pandavas were exiled into the forest, you know, they went to Khandava forest and they built their own city there.
Okay.
That was called Khandava Prastha.
Hanji.
And well, it seems, I don't remember exactly, but it seems, I seem to remember that when the Pandavas built Khandava Prastha, lots of people from Indraprastha were moving to Khandava Prastha because they preferred the Pandavas.
Hanji.
Now, Duryodhana didn't like that, so he had to, do something else. Duryodhana had tried many times to assassinate the Pandavas
Hmm.
with poison and with, burning the place where they were staying, and so many other ways.
Duryodhan
So,
is Duryodhan he's made numerous attempts to assassinate the Pandavas by various means. So that means he's an aggressor even before then.
Exactly. He is an adharmic person.
And
Not only is an aggressor, but he is also adharmic because if someone is attacking you, if a kshatriya is attacking you, he should do so on the open field.
I see.
You know, a poisoner is not a kshatriya.
An
arsonist is not a kshatriya.
Mm-hmm.
They're common criminals. Many people think that kshatriya is some kind of, gangster,
Okay.
warmonger.
Mm-hmm.
That he likes to fight with everyone, he likes to kill people, you know. For example, I'm reading this book by one Henry Doktorsky about the assassination of Sulochana and
Oh,
what was the other one? Chuck Dharmachak or something like that, before even Sulochana. And he is describing these criminals as kshatriyas,
ah,
and they were, seriously very, very low principled people.
mm,
Kshatriya has a code of honor. He is
mm-hmm,
not going around beating children and women and,
mm-hmm,
poisoning people, and shooting people from behind the corners.
uh-huh, right.
you know. So Duryodhana was this type of criminal. But Duryodhana was not even an actual Kshatriya because he had, tried to assassinate the Pandavas not in a honest, open battle with a code of honor, but through, trying to poison them, specifically Bhima, and trying to
Mm,
burn them all, including their mother, inside the house that he had
Anji.
built for them, specifically for that purpose.
Mm,
Duryodhana had given the instruction to build this house with all the materials that would burn best.
flammable.
Yeah, totally flammable.
Mm,
Top flammable. If there was the opposite, contrary of, fireproof,
uh-huh,
that would be, that would be it. So this is why it is called Dharmakshetra.
mm-hmm,
Now Dharmakshetra is a Dharmakshetra for the Pandavas and
mm-hmm,
all the people, all the kshatriyas in their generation, in their time,
okay.
because everybody actually went to the Kurukshetra,
Mm-hmm,
and this is why Arjuna becomes very depressed because he sees that all these kshatriyas are going to die. And who's going to protect the prajas? Who's going to
right.
protect the families? You
Mm-hmm,
know? Because not just Duryodhana and the bad people will die. Because Duryodhana brought all his allies.
oh, okay. They can take over.
Like for example Bhishma,
Uh-huh.
Drona, Karna were also fighting to support Duryodhana, and they were not exactly bad people.
No, they weren't. They weren't.
You know, and they had they had families. They could be good protectors of society.
Mm-hmm,
Why they have to die? And
mm-hmm,
also not only that, but on Duryodhana's side there was
mm-hmm.
also the entire army of the Yadavas,
Okay.
the
And
entire
Duryodhana's army.
family of Krishna,
Wow.
practically speaking. You know, Because when, if you remember the story, the situation, when both Duryodhana and Arjuna went to Krishna to ask his help for the
Right.
battle. So Krishna asked them, okay, I want to help both of you. One of you will get my army, and the other one will get me. But I will not fight.
Mm-hmm.
So of course Duryodhana made his calculations. He said, wow, yeah, sure, why not? I am happy, to get the army, because the army of the Yadavas was a big army,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So how could Arjuna be happy to see all these people die?
Right.
Okay,
I
let's
see.
go on. The Dharma Kshetra is not only a place of pilgrimage, but it also a place where one performs one religious duty, dharma. For a kshatriya, a battlefield is a dharma kshetra because it is his religious duty to protect the kingdom and its inhabitants, the praja, including also the animals, from those who can harm them. Kshetra means field or land and specifically applies to the territory protected by a kshatriya or kshatrapa, a definition from which the ancient Persian word satrap derived. Okay, of course, the Bhagavad Gita does not apply only to that particular situation, so it applies in general to all the Kurukshetras we can go through. We all have our own Kurukshetra.
Mm-hmm.
So that is also the Dharmakshetra, and also the teachings of Krishna will apply also to our own Dharmakshetra.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's go on. Mamaka Pandavas Chaiva, already in the first verse, we clearly see the reason why the battle needs to be fought. Dhritarashtra is seriously afflicted by a fundamental dualistic delusion that he has transmitted to his sons. From him and his evil-minded Durbuddha, son Duryodhana, who deliberately caused the conflict, it's all about aham mama, me and mine, or the ahankara and mamatva, the root causes of ignorance and suffering. For Dhritarashtra, the throne is just a personal possession, the instrument of his selfishness and egotism, by which he and his own people can best exploit the subjects and the resources of the kingdom for their own gratification and vain glory, without any consideration for the welfare of the people. This mentality is clearly described as asuric, demoniac, in Gita. No king has the right to consider the kingdom as his own property, to do whatever he wants with it. Actually, a king should sacrifice everything he has, including his own personal family, for the benefit of the kingdom and the prajas. The events narrated in the Mahabharata show that Dhritarashtra is blind not only physically, but also ethically and spiritually. And it is clear from this verse that because of the intrinsic dharmic influence of the place where the armies are assembled, Dhritarashtra is afraid that his son Duryodhana might become inclined to relent from his evil schemes and agree to share the kingdom with the Pandavas. On a symbolic level, in the story of the Mahabharata, Dhritarashtra represents the material calculation for selfish benefits that is blind to dharma and spiritual identity. After losing everything, he finally understands that material attachment is illusory, is illusion, and dies away. Dhritarashtra's wife, Gandhari, represents the material attachment to family and society, that makes itself blind too because it becomes subservient to the pursuance of selfish benefits. Duryodhana, the name meaning is cruel in fighting, is considered a partial incarnation of the age of Kali and symbolically represents quarrel. His younger brothers represent the various defects and bad influences, bad tendencies of the conditioned soul, especially Dusasana, who represents lust. In the war of Kurukshetra, Bhima, who is an Amsa of Shiva Mahadev like the other Pandavas and represents Kala Bhairava, kills Dusasana and drinks his blood, signifying that lust can be channeled, sanctified, and made harmless through the tantric path. The sister of Duryodhana, Dushala, symbolizes bad advice. She married Jayadratha, the king of Sindhu, and became the mother of Suradha, who got a heart attack when he heard that Arjuna had come for the Rajasuya with the sacrificial horse entering the kingdom. At another level of a symbolic interpretation of the story, Duryodhana is a conditioned soul, the king of the city of the nine gates, who, observing the variety of arrangements exemplified by the Pandavas, symbolizing the religious persons and spiritual traditions in this world, directly approaches a teacher for guidance. Although Vedic scriptures have various levels of interpretation, including very subtle ones, the literal meaning also remains valid. So we are not saying that the Battle of Kurukshetra never happened. Okay, verse 2. Any question up to here?
Okay. Do you remember the link I sent you, Mataji, earlier on? The YouTube link. I don't know if you had a chance to see it.
Okay.
She was saying in the short video that Arjun was depressed, and the Gita was spoken to transform that depression to help Arjuna. Is that correct?
Oh, okay. I can see where you are coming from. Well, it's not completely correct.
Okay.
Because the Bhagavad Gita has a greater scope than helping Arjuna's emotional life.
Okay.
But this idea raises an extremely good point that is very relevant to society today. We see that the mental and emotional disturbances have become extremely common and extremely serious in our present society due to many factors. In fact, looking around what is happening on the planet, it is quite natural to become depressed because, we have actual very, very real and objective problems which are complicating our lives. But, as I always say, the best treatment, the best solution for all mental problems is yoga. Is the science explained in Bhagavad Gita. What is yoga? Yoga means the first step of yoga is realizing that we are the Atman. We are not the mind and the body. We are not Ahankara and Mamata. In fact, Krishna will start his teachings in Bhagavad Gita by saying, we are not the body. You are not the body. The first verse of the teachings of Krishna is asochanambasocastvam priyabadamscha bhasase gatasun agatasun cha nanu sochanti pandita. Those who are really learned, who know, you have the knowledge, don't worry for those who are dead and those who are not dead. So you are actually, as Krishna to Arjuna, you're talking very well, about protecting the kingdom and everything. But you are worrying for something that is not worth your worry. Is once you realize that you're not the body, the people assembled here are not the bodies, what's your problem? Nothing will be lost. Only the bodies will be lost. But the bodies are lost anyway. They cannot be protected forever. So, it's better for a kshatriya especially to give up their body for a noble cause of protecting the kingdom and the prajas from a bad ruler. Because if you die, you go to the higher planas because you've been, dedicated to dharma. And if you win, you'll be able to do your duty and protect the prajas. So you see, in a sense, what this lady says, it's true, but the realization of the self, the Atman Brahman, goes much beyond the immediate problem of overcoming depression. Does this answer your question? Difficult. Hi, Chandrasekhar. Okay. I think we may have lost him. Okay, so no problem. We can continue next time. We read the first verse, which is already good. So next time we'll study the second verse. Jai Jagannath.